Okay, you ask how you remove this valve body from this valve nut from the assembly. One of the things you have to be really careful about is that it's very easy to break off this little tube here, this release tube that runs down here that drops any moisture that accumulates in this little catch cup down. It's really easy to break this off. Actually, I had somebody do that once. So the first thing you do, best thing, is to remove. If you've got this removable steam wand, you can also just tip it up if you need to. There are two. What you need to do is have a wrench. These are 16 millimeter wrenches that fit down underneath this assembly here. It's 16 millimeters underneath this little catch cup. If you use a regular wrench, it doesn't want to fit underneath here because it's too thin right here. So there's two things that you can do. One is to buy this special 16 millimeter thin wrench from Stefano, and then so it'll fit right underneath here and hold on well. What I did before I bought that wrench was I ground down the two sides of this wrench so it would fit underneath and at least grab it. It doesn't, you can see it does fit underneath here. So you can either use, take a tool and grind it down, a 16 millimeter open-ended wrench, or buy this thinner one from Stefano. And then the other thing that's more difficult is that this is a 16 millimeter nut. So if you use a standard 16 millimeter socket, it doesn't want to fit down inside of this catch cup over the nut. So you have to use a thin wall. You have to have a thin wall nut like this one does that fits down. See how that slid in there so easily? So to take this off, you need to, this is a 3/8 inch drive. So I'm just going to hold this assembly down below here, this whole assembly with this wrench, and then I'm going to just slightly, just slightly turn this unit so that it would come loose. There it goes. It broke. It took me a minute to break it loose. You see, I've had yours loose. I mean, if you've had yours off recently, then it's no big problem. And then you take this nut off. Okay, you take this nut off. I'm just going to hand screw it. You see everything is loose now. This catch cup with the tube, and there's a spring in here. And so you can take off everything that you have here. This is actually a newer version. This has the vacuum in it, the vacuum breaker built into the release. And so it does two things. It allows the vacuum to release, and then it also is a safety release. And so you can see this whole unit. And what you want to do is just make sure it's free. This one was stuck onto here. So now it's actually free. It's free floating. You can put everything back together again, just like you took it off. Just make sure everything's clean. You might want to soak things if you need to. This one, obviously, I'm just doing as an example. And then you screw it back on, by hand. Or if you want to, you can take, the socket to screw it down. Make sure that this is going to be dropping into your into the drip tray here. Tighten that, snug that one down, and then again, obviously, just to reverse it, you want to hold this, in place. Put this back on again. Reverse the driver, and just snug it in place. It doesn't take as much as it was, and you just want to make sure you hold this one, this wrench here, so that it doesn't move. And that's it.